This is the Bar Steward's Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello, yes, big warm welcome. It's the Bar Steward's Enquiry midweek podcast, but we're covering HQ. It's Newmarket meeting, the July meeting, and joining me to go through the better bets and better action on Thursday and Friday is Mr. John Lang and Mr. Nick Davis. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Lee.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, and I'd like to kick off the show with a real heartfelt condolences from all bar stewards, really, to a very nice man in the racing industry by the name of John Hunt, Hunty Caller on Twitter. I don't know how someone could cope with an atrocity such as that, and we are all absolutely shocked at what has happened to John Hunt today and his family, and we wish him the very best of wishes. Not that you can ever say anything to cut into something like this, and it's going to be a very difficult time for John Hunt and the rest of his family. So, yes, John Hunt, a terrible thing. Chaps, we move on. We'll do the show the best we can, but it's terrible for racing as well. One of the nice guys in the game. On to HQ. We've got Thursday and the Friday to cover. Now, just a question going forward. Do we think this meeting is possibly in decline, chaps?
Yeah, put an extra race on each day and then cull about 4 or 5.
John?
I think it's probably been in decline a little while. I'd struggle to put my finger on exactly where, but I think maybe the showpiece races like the Princess of Wales Stakes and the July Stakes don't seem to have that pull anymore.
But it's the lack of top class animals, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
We can't fill festivals.
the Bahrain Trophy's hooked, isn't it?
Yeah, do you think the gutting and selling off of our 3-year-old bloodstock to different parts of the world is having an impact on our sort of older age races like the Eclipse, the King George, and the Princess of Wales, where normally we'd see potential, even sort of Group 1 horses stepping down into...
It can't possibly help, can it?
No.
There's no upside to it for racing. It's just an upside for the...
There's no depth. I mean, after all, Ascot, our 3-year-olds usually get raided, don't they? And we saw the Britannia winner's gone, hasn't it? Mickley or something like that. Yeah, I think that's gone.
Yeah, it's been sold to Hong Kong, yeah.
The one before the Britannia?
Yeah, they did. They sold it actually before the Britannia, they did, yeah. They parted ways with the prize asset. But again, if you've got, say, a syndicate or a small race group that own these kind of horses, say if me and John were in one, and say you, Nick, we were all in this horse we'd bought for, say, 25 grand or 30 grand at the sales between six of us. If King Kong comes in with 400, we're
they're going to take it. Yeah,
I'd be fucking ringing King Kong before they came in and not telling you to.
Yeah, but we haven't paid the 25 grand yet. That's the trouble. We had that on tick.
All on the slate. On the slate, please, Dave. Indeed. So therein lies the problem, doesn't it? It's middle season, I like to call it, the Eclipse, the July meet, and the King George. I think he's suffering at the moment in terms of where it stands in grandeur of past years.
I think there's some nice races this week.
Yeah, I'm not being overcritical, but it definitely feels a little bit light. Right, so anyway, but that doesn't matter because we're going to find the winners and some nice ones too. So we're going to come on to the Bahrain Trophy to start with, a race that I always like in terms of looking at potential ledger horses. And there's a couple of nice types in here at the top of the market. Only 4 go to post, but Ancient Wisdom and Space Legend. I personally feel, chaps, the betting's right. I don't think there's much in it in terms of a value play, but you guys may correct me otherwise. Ancient Wisdom, I think, will like this ground, but I never trust a Charlie Appleby running out at a short price, John. He's had too many bomb outs and blowouts with his horses to trust going in with the serious wedge at 11-10. What do you think?
Well, he's coming off the back of a run at the serial breaker down of horses anyway, Epsom, that you would worry about him having been there anyway. I mean, it never looked likely to suit him. It didn't. So you don't really know how he's going to come out of that. If he hadn't been to Epsom and he'd had a setback after the Dante and then he was coming at you, you'd probably be all over him. But that Epsom run stops me contemplating a bet on him.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's pitched perfectly at around 11-10 because it's one of them. If Ancient Wisdom, the real Ancient Wisdom, comes to the fore, then he'll probably beat Space Legend and probably win the race. But like you say, there's enough doubt there to make you want to just rush in and take it. Nick, any view on this?
Who goes out in front, though? Does Space Legend try to go out in front here? Has made the run in before. I imagine he sits on Ancient Wisdom's tail and it's whoever gets the best ride. Ancient Wisdom has got the form. He's got the form on softer ground, but Space Legend's got the more recent good form, and we don't know how it comes out. As you say, I mean, I don't think Royal Supremacy will love this surface personally. Portland will like the service. I don't think he's good enough. It's really a sort of a bah. I'll have some patty and something, and I'll have that on the race. But I couldn't recommend a bet here.
No, we're not betting on the first. I think that's a unanimous call. I think we're all straightforward on that. The 225 then, it's the Kingdom of Bahrain July Stakes. A race I've always liked in the past. I always think it's like a really good race to try and solve. Again, the betting probably looks about right. Nick, how do we think this will ride Newmarket this week? It does dry out well, doesn't it?
It does dry out well. When it's soft, it can sometimes be a front end gas pit when it gets soft if they go off in front. Usually used to be a Charlie Johnson one. That's why I probably I look at the first two races, but it's good. It's gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be on the soft side, and we won't know obviously until the first couple of races.
Sure.
It can dry up, and the weather says it might do, but there's a few, especially in the next race after this, with virtually no soft ground form there.
John, you ate this kip at the best of times.
Yeah.
This is your nemesis in terms of punting, like the July course.
It's not really my nemesis because I avoid it like the fucking plague.
Yeah, but we're a tipping shirt.
Yeah,
But what I'm trying to say is, you hate it when it's good to firm and then he waters.
and there's clownish flying like bin lids, yeah.
But this inclement weather surely has stopped him watering, which means you're probably going to get better ground than what you'd normally possibly would do.
Could be interesting, the fact that he ought not to have watered. Yes.
Yeah.
I will probably watch with interest. I think up to about the third race. I think I had the third race earmarked as a marker race. Yeah, the 365 handicap. I thought that would be a good race to get a handle on where the best ground might be.
Okay, and of course we know where the Newmarket can sometimes play host to several biases. Sometimes it's the stands rail, sometimes it's the far rail. But as you point out, Nick, this week it might not favour the far rail like it has done in the past.
Yeah, because it's stand side course and not the far side course. When you get rain, it's the far side course underneath the trees, and you're home.
Right, there you go.
That's the next meeting. That's in a week or so that they switch to the far side course.
So there might be less bias this week. If there's any, it'll probably be stands, which can happen when everyone wants to get on that golden rail. The July Stakes, then Whistle Jacket is 6-4. I think it's rightly priced myself. I thought if there was any value to be had and somebody said, right, you've got to have a score on the race, would be, for me, Eve Johnson-Houghton's Billboard Star at around the 16-1 mark. There's been money for it, has been 20s, so that's getting a bit. But I thought at that price, Billboard Star, the way it won its maiden here last time, I thought was impressive. And some of these horses that ran at Ascot might just do a little bouncy. We've seen a few of that, obviously with shorter absences, but 3 weeks off might be better for these. But still, they won't have done much with them after Ascot, and I'm always wary about backing Royal Ascot performers at the July meeting. John, your opinion?
I think Whistle Jacket's the correct favourite, but I was impressed with Ain't Nobody when he overhauled the American Speedball.
Cannonball.
When nothing else managed it. And he's also managed to win on good to soft, so the ground will come alike. I think he'll definitely be shouted at 6 at this track. If I had to have a bet, I'd probably swerve in his direction as much as anything from a value point of view. I think anything like 4-1 plus is reasonable about that one. He's done nothing wrong.
Okay, mate, good stuff. I do think the softer ground for Whistle Jacket will help him, because I felt at Ascot he just didn't have that toe, and I just think when he beat the one in Ireland, the good one of Amherst,
5 with cut might be. Sorry, 6 with cut could be just as bad, couldn't it?
it could really improve him. So if you fancy Whistle Jacket, I wouldn't put you off at all. I don't think we can put you off Whistle Jacket if that's where you want to go. If you like a fav, Nick, any of you here?
Nope.
Nope. We love a nope. Right, it's a 3 o'clock race. This is where betting gets a little bit interesting. We've lost Elban Jed already due to the prevailing potential ground conditions. I've got a nice bet in here, and it's certainly my best bet of Thursday. John likes this race. So, John, to start with, I'll come to you, then round to Nick.
Well, I did think that there could be a nice little solo. My old mucker Holly Doyle on 2 Tribes.
Interesting.
I think the majority of the pace is high, and this one's nearly over the far side. Sorry. This one's up the stands rail, sorry.
Yeah.
The thing is, she's already been back today. She's into 11-1 now.
12 you can get.
But 20 is available this morning, so I think a lot of people have been looking at pace maps and things. But I did think that was really interesting, with a view of possibly having a real softie on this side against what might be going on.
I think there'll be more non-runners, though, won't they, John? I mean, are they going to run Would A Wonder?
Not on this ground, surely not.
Probably not, but I'm sort of taking it at face value.
Yeah.
For the purposes of this podcast, and I just think she's going to be out there what she likes anyway.
Yeah, good stuff, John. 2 Tribes for Richard Spencer and the Doyler. John makes a case there that this will go well due to being able to be up there on the pace and might just get there another race. Nick Davis.
There's not, as I said, there's not a lot of soft ground form in here. One that hasn't cut the ice on better ground, but is now back on a softer surface is Roger the Vegetables Mosswat right down the bottom. There's a heavy ground performance last back end at Doncaster. Now, 4th for Al Shabab Stone, who's now rated, I think it's 100. Yep. 2nd was Alaskan Gold, which is now rated 103. And the top one, Ballymount Boy, is rated 102. And this is now off 86, I think it is. Yeah, it's off 86. It's won the novice at Yarmouth on soft, and it's been on good ground and good firm all this year. And it was 25s and now 16s, drawn where the pace is, the old Sylvester on. I mean, it's not a confident selection, but it is, if that is taken at face value on soft and heavy, if it's a lot better on soft and heavy, then this mark of 86 isn't right if it's the same horse.
Nice case. Like it. Yeah, nothing not to like about your case you made there for Mosswat of the Vegetables team. This would be an old-fashioned klaxon on the old Friday show, because 2 Tribes, John, would be my best bet of the first day. The reason being, for all your reasoning about the pace, I think there's a little bit more to it than that as well, because let's look at it slightly deeper, where we look at 2 Tribes. He's been gelded, which he needs it, because he's a right fucker.
You want to go to war?
All Frankie Goes to Hollywood stuff, this. Definitely. But the gelding for me was big, because that run at HQ at Newmarket, second to James Delight, who run off 97, who subsequently then won that really solid York race that Nick likes, like the old Coral Sprint Trophy for 3-year-olds, off 102. Then he's won on the listed race since in Deauville. And this bugger quick and clear of James Delight with about half a furlong to run. And for me, either just got tired or got lonely. He's a little bit tricky. But that run took my eye. I thought, bloody hell. And obviously, Shagran's franked the form by running well at Ascot. Trifort is now rated £10 higher on 90. This is very, very strong form to say that this is still off 91. Now, the race at Ascot, I think you can ignore because he was on completely the wrong group. He was on the stand side group who just had no chance at any point in that final couple of furlongs. So draw a line through that, and it would drop into 5 anyway. I think at 6 furlongs, now he's gelded, he's unexposed, he's got potentially the best piece of form in the race in terms of handicapping purposes on the 4th of May. I think that's a big, big player. And obviously you like it, which boosts my confidence as well, because we don't confer beforehand. So 12-1, I think he's still very fair, and I'd be a lot shorter, and it might well be with the non-runners, as Nick possibly predicts may come out over the next 24 hours. We've had an old-fashioned klaxon, if you like. 3:35 to finish the day. One off is the Princess of Wales Stakes. And again, I'm finding the betting pretty accurate myself. I think it's the right favourite. Arrest, I don't think, has the form level of Hamish overall.
Don't you think so?
I don't think so, no.
The one good run on soft behind continuous.
In the ledger, that's the thing. It's 2.5 furlongs further. The reason why Arrest also needs soft ground, let alone his action, at this level, he's just slow. Unless it becomes like a burn-up, an absolute out-and-out stamina test. I suppose it depends what Holly does on Outbox, because obviously that pops up now and again when they give it the old easy. You can never rule that out, really. The way that sometimes just wins because they all ignore it. It could be a fascinating race tactically. Do I want to punt Hamish at evens? No. They've got it about spot on. Maybe say 6-5 is about the right price. I think evens is a bit skinny. Arrest, like I say, on the whole, he's a bit of a boat. When he won at that Chester meeting, I'll never forget it, how deep that ground was that day. Very, very deep ground at Chester. When it won at the May meeting, beating Adelaide River. And I just felt 16 seconds slower than standard. Beat that. Thinking it out of Softnick.
Yeah.
16 seconds slower than standard. He just wants an absolute bog slog. John?
I think Hamish is slightly flattered by the Coronation Cup run. I did think at the time, I thought, well, the frog was ridden wrong. Upjohn wasn't right. Time Lock has about as much in common with running in Group 1 races as I do. And the winner doesn't stay 12 furlongs. So I thought the fact that he was odds on in places meant that he wanted taking on. And I did think, given the way the race might pan out, that Arrest will be up there and probably sat on Holly Doyle's shoulder. If there is a nice bit of give in the ground, I think he could end up sticking it up to that. He's about 3 furlongs out, and they might struggle to run him down. I'm not saying he's a good thing or anything like that. I just think the favourite's been overrated. You know, I mean, you've got horses like Time Lock again, 15-2, 8-1, that type of price. No business being anywhere near that. I think maybe Giavoletto would be the danger.
I asked you two about him. What do you think to Giavoletto's price at 6-1? Very impressive last time, obviously over a different trip.
He can run all right with giving the ground. He stays well. He's been pretty consistent. I don't dislike the horse at all.
Yeah. None of you feel sorry for me ever. In fact, no one ever does. But I look back at...
I never stop thinking about the handicap defeat.
I'm not kidding. I had 16 monkeys when it ran against Nathaniel Green, and Nathaniel Green beat it. And it were off 92. And I'm just like... I was like a mental mess, I think, that afternoon. I just didn't know what to do with myself. I just thought, what is going off? Nathaniel Green, fair enough, was at 82, but didn't exactly frank the form after that. In fact, that was the last race that Nathaniel Green won. And it's gone hurdling since. What a game. And I suppose, isn't that like a lesson for listeners and everyone, that no matter how good you think you've got the game, or you think you're doing well, or you know what you're doing. Give me a price, Nathaniel Green against Jay Veloso. Now, just astonishing, isn't it? There we go. So that's racing.
I would say, though, on that one, if ever a wrestler's going to beat Hamish, it'll be tomorrow.
Be tomorrow, yeah. Well, you and John are pretty similar on that then.
You think the 4:45? I thought it was a very interesting race.
4:45. A lead artist. Well, I'm a lead artist fan because of John, really. John was raving about this after debut, and we attended the very day when it ran in the novice at York. And because there was such a big tip for this Under Siege of Baldings, and that had run second to Economics on debut, me and John were like, well, we love this lead artist, but there was so much confidence behind the Baldings, it was untrue. And it thumped them all. Absolutely thumped them. And I know John loves it. John, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the usual cautionary tale regarding skid marking, something that might be tactical, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a nice horse. I mean, they've put this in the Celebration Mile lead
Yeah.
artist. So they must think it's better than listed because they've put it in Group 2.
What I did think could run well here was Al Musmak.
You think Vegetables has got the trick wrong this season?
Definitely, certainly didn't cover his selling glory first time up. And I think they decided that was inconclusive and they gave it another go, but then definitely didn't stay last time.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I just think this lead artist might be something.
Right, potential, isn't it? Yeah.
But then, look, I know you guys make good cases at prices like 15-2 for Al Musmak or 13-8 lead artist. There'd be some people, I don't want to take 13-8 when you've basically got to improve again to beat your opposition. But that's obviously the barometer that you have to work out. As lead artist got more in it to step forward another 10 to thump these? Possibly. Not definitely is the probably right answer. But yeah, good kid. So Nick, you like Al Musmak the same as John?
Yeah, I thought it was a case of you looking at his form. His 2-year-old form stands stead, and it just doesn't look to me as if it stays.
Right, good stuff. A nice opinion there on an on-television card from Nick and John in particular. Best bets. So Thursday, obviously, me and John going with 2 tribes. Nick, what is yours?
I'm going to go Al Musmak.
Yeah, Al Musmak there in the 4:45. Right, Friday, 150 race. Royal Power heads the market. Another Bet365 Heritage Handicap, sponsored by Port Vale. An interesting race, this. So I'll start us off. I'm very keen on one in this, and it's the Simon Crisford training involvement. This was available at much bigger than this 14s, 12s, 11s, 10s, 9s. I think the stepping up in trip is the making of the colt. He was unlucky, very, very unlucky at the Britannia. Yes. And he was racing completely on his own, which was so unfortunate because I think there's so much more to come from this horse. And won't mind the soft ground. He chased on Nelly Laylax from an impossible draw and position. This is strong form. And there's a lot more to come because you look at the pedigree. This is half brother to Dubai Crystal, 10 furlong winner. The Dam was a mile 2-year-old winner. He was an Oaks third, Lady of Dubai. Racing at a mile for this long, I think they've just kept him at the wrong trip for too long. He was terribly unlucky at Epsom on reappearance. Should have won 5 lengths. Like I said, bad draw, and a better trip might have seen him beat Nelly Laylax over the mile at Aydock. And then last time, under rattling quick conditions, just didn't have the gears, but didn't have the run of the race either, racing on his own. I'd still say 9-1 is huge. I'd have this short, and I think it needs hammering. I think it's better than 96, and I love the booking in Oisin. So yeah, I'm all over involvement. John?
I quite like involvement. I thought the possible alternative to involvement might be Royal Power. Godolphin and Mark Johnston have pretty good records in this.
Yeah.
Godolphin obviously have the right profile of horse to be having a stab at this race, as did Johnston. I mean, he hadn't won it for about 4 years. But I think he's had 6 out of 10 or something. They do tend to have a nice few horses to choose from for this race. And I think Royal Power has been pleasingly progressive. The Goodwood runs worked out pretty good behind Space Legend and Maidan.
Yes.
For the third run of his life. And I wouldn't want to be taking more worse than say 11th thought about an Appleby horse, but I think he'd be a pretty solid saver on the involvement bet.
I agree. I looked at his mark of 100 and I was like trying to make my mind up, and I'm thinking, I think there's a little bit more in locker, but I don't know how much more. They can improve these horses quite significant. He ain't gelded it yet, which is a plus for them. Normally a gelding by now. So like I like your case, and I'll give you that. He's a solid fav because you got Shanti in a second fav, and that is what it is. Ribart's won 2 shit races and gone up in weights. Endless Victory ran terrible last time and has got an idiot on board. Travolta, there's no night fever with this one.
You put it in the play spot, will you be staying alive?
Exactly. Are we staying alive through the pot in this one? I just think involvement's cracking. I would price involvement in this around 5 to 1, 9 to 2, that sort of range. So even now at 9s, yes, let's plough in. Spoil the prices for Huge Taylor. Spoil it for them all.
I think you're writing Shanti off a bit. Back at 10 furlongs, you look at the ratings of all the ones around it in the London Gold Cup.
Oh, yeah.
Persica.
Yep.
Persica's now 110.
Yep.
King's Gambit is now 110.
I'm not allowing King's Gambit. That were a freak. Poddy Ross runs shit last time.
Well, Ascot, he was drawn on the inside. He's only got beaten 4 lengths. Does he stay 12 furlongs properly? Back to 10 furlongs on?
I'll agree with you on that, because if you watch it back, he's in the same position as the winner, turning in on the wide outside, and the winner powers past him, and he's just like, had enough kind of thing. I might be a bit harsh, but I just thought the mark was about reflective now to where he is. It might be 100. I'm not sure he's better than that, but I could be wrong.
Right.
So what do you think, Nick?
I'm sort of split on this race. I'm not having a bet in it, but I just thought, I don't think you can write off Shanti on this mark.
That's fair enough. So listeners, don't write this off in terms of, especially my embarrassment in terms of tipping horses that can't win. And yeah, I've not got the best record, but there you go. So Nick has come up with a counterclaim there. John likes Royal Power into he can't lose if that wins the race. But involvement, I think, is the main play we've got in there. 225. The Duchess of Cambridge, Heaven's Gate and Mountain Breeze lead the race at 4 to 1 each of 2 for Appleby and O'Brien. John, what's your comments here on Arabian Dusk?
I think this is the best race of the week.
Oh, I love
And
this.
That's for someone who despises 2-year-old fillies. I think this is an absolute ripper of a race. I'll start with Arabian Dusk. I've just found it beyond comprehension that a horse that looks as though she's crying out for a 7th furlong already could be running back at this sharper 6 furlongs than Doncaster last time, which still didn't bring out the best of her. Whether he thinks cramming experience into her in the space of a month the best way forward, I don't know, but she's not actually on my radar for this race.
Yeah.
The one I like here very much is Gavin Cromwell's Fiery Lucy.
Right.
14 to 1. I think the form of the maiden that she won, she beat Pointless, and then that one came out and won. There was a solid listed performer of Ado McGuinness is in third. There's any amount of improvement to come. I know Gary Carroll couldn't ride the other one because of Shane as a retainer for Qatar racing. I think at the prices, I think Fiery Lucy's a tremendous value over. I'd probably save on the other one, believe it or not. I think Gavin Cromwell's in a tremendous position for this race because, as I say, Mighty Area ran a superb race in the Queen Mary, sat well back this side, came through and was a clear second. But I'm just not entirely convinced that the Queen Mary was all that. And I think the fact that Fairy Lucy hasn't run in this sort of grade yet, she could still progress past these. And I think she's got the potential to do so. She's out of a mare called Craig Hall that threw Mukaddama. I know that's a mile and a quarter horse. That did race 107. And I like the breeding profile. I like her physically, and I think 14-1 is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a good case and a very strong one. You're very strong on that, so I like that. It's a shame because I was waiting for, like you, for Arabian Dust to be entered in a nice 7 furlong race somewhere, even if it was a quiet one and a novice race.
By the time we get what we want from the Crispers, the brains will be all over the grass.
Yeah, Arabian Dusk is ready for 7. You saw that with Newmarket last time. She was never going. And if it is slower by Friday still, which it might not be, it's still a task to think that she'd be good enough to win over 6 at the moment. It just I don't get the place, and I agree with you, John. I think it's wrong. I think she needs 7. Whoever's deciding these races are idiots. Nick Davis.
2-year-old racers a no from me.
Yeah, so John, I think, comes across the best there in terms of opinion. So I'll leave it at that. The 3 o'clock next, I've got a feeling this might be Nick's type of heat, is the 14th furlong Heritage Handicap for the older horses. Fox Journey's market leader.
The Eva trial, innit?
Yeah, so Nick, I'm coming to you first because I reckon you've probably got the best opinion out of the 3 of us. Sorry, John.
I think the market isn't that far off. I like Fairbanks. I thought the run from behind at the Royal meeting from stall 2 over this kind of distance. He's by Nathaniel, and now he's tackling some softer ground and along the distance. I mean, it scooted away from Lordship last year at Haydock when it had the visor first time, and it absolutely scooted up from Lordship that time, and it proves this. I think Tessa Stammer do it good. It needed its first run. The softer ground, Wassine on, and that good run at Ascot last time. I think this will go very close. I think his price is just about right. He'll go very close.
It's interesting because what you said there about when it ran in the first time visor, it thumped Lordship, and obviously off 68. It's interesting that they obviously think it's tricky. Why have you switched from visor to blinkers? Might be a bit harsh because, like you said, the draw last time at Ascot certainly wasn't favourable. So they might be a bit harsh. But I think if it's one of them that responds or gets excited by a change of headgear, let's pull up the drawbridge. Back to George Strawbridge. 11-2. Nick, it's a real fair case because if you look at the others in the market, Fox Journey had that easy lead at Newmarket. I've never seen a red carpet like that one, ever. And then obviously that didn't back it up. Copper Horse. Tides of War has been pulled out before when there's been any sort of soft by Simcock, but he's an idiot, so we never know what's going on there. Bagdoor, the trainer's always said he definitely wants fast ground. You won't want any cut if there is cut by then. I've made my thoughts on Vino Victrix playing. They can change, but surely, Nick, a mile and 6 is probably a bit sharp for Vino.
Yeah, it is a bit sharp. Unless they go silly up front. Tenerife should make the run, shouldn't it? That should be up in front.
Yeah, under Billy the Kid. Yeah.
Yeah, that should be up in front. I thought Fairbanks was a fair bet.
I would be with you. I think you make a very good case. That's the one that I would put my money down on, given a suitable price on the Betfair shows. John?
Well, Nick's pissed on me chips, really, because I had Fairbanks down as having run a cracker at Ascot, because he was ridden handy and got beat by finishers. The ground was probably a little bit on the quick side for him as well. I did think the run at Hamilton indicated there might be a chink in his armour, but I think the short lane running solves that. Other than that, I thought that the possible alternative, this trip with a bit of cut might suit Solent Gateway. Because that ran pretty good at Haydock, over 2 miles on soft ground.
Oh, yeah, behind that easy winner, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can forget the run on the all-weather in the plate. I thought that one could bounce back there at a sporting price, but I really did like Fairbanks.
It's like 2 Claxons then, in a way.
George Strawbridge Claxon there as well. That's a double Claxon there.
Yeah, pull up the drawbridge. Here comes George Strawbridge. Let us know if you want us to do a Bar Steward shop. Imagine marketing a white T-shirt with a green band round the middle with a little slogan above it saying, pull up the drawbridge. What a T-shirt that'd be. You'd love that one. You could turn up one day when he's got a decent runner somewhere. Pull up the drawbridge. I know, what idiots we are. Good thoughts there, chaps. So potentially they're a second klaxon back in the old days of the Friday show. There from Nick and John. 3:35 is the final race at Newmarket on the telly. After that, we'll come to best bets for that day or any other business to finish the show. So the 3:35 race, the Falmouth for fillies. Nick loves these kind of races. Fillies. Running like...
Will the jolly like the ground?
Yeah, you make a good point. That's the main talking point of the race. Surely. 13-8. It did win on heavy ground on its debut. That means little or nothing. Apart from that, it's mainly showed massive turns of foot on good, quick ground. That's its skill. In fact, a lot of us bar stewards last time, not maybe all, but some of us felt that it wouldn't stay that well, the old Coronation. But yeah, it proved us all wrong because it went whoosh straight past the old opera singer, and obviously that's massive form coming into the race. But there has to be some lingering doubts. John, I'm coming to you first. What do you think for Portia Fortuna on the ground?
Well, I think at the prices, I think a Violet Rollers are much more secure bet. If you know, what I mean, I think if you could get say 1.6 a place, Violet Roller, I think it's a storming bet, to be honest.
That was, of course, second to Fallen Angel in the Irish Thousand Guineas, where opera singer was fat that day, as we were told was. She did improve in the Coronation, but not enough to win. Running Lion, this would be out of her class, would it, John?
I mean, she did all right last time, but I thought she got by far the best ride in the race.
By miles, yeah. Run of the race, totally.
And will Rogue Millennium, will that run a bit soft?
I'm classing Rogue Millennium now as having had a trainer downgrade, believe it or not, because this fella's just looking a fucking idiot this year.
He's not had a good year, the baby Joseph. Most of the bets there carry a sort of a wealth warning, especially with the 3-year-olds.
I mean, this thing run awful, this Ascot. Make no bones about it. I mean, this was clear favourite on the day. Had a lovely spin round on the inner. I mean, she was first one bait in the straight.
Yeah. So I'm sort of with John here in a way that we don't know conditions. By Friday, if there's no further rain and the amp watered, it might even be bloody good to firm. Then we're all Port of Fortuna fans.
I don't think that's a bad thing for a Lilac Roller either, though, because, I mean, she handles cut, but she's also out with a Red Ransom mare, and she won on good as a 2-year-old twice.
Yeah, of course, beating opera singer Red Viburnum.
I don't think this has a lot of issues with the ground, to be honest.
No, I agree. I'm with John here. I think John makes the best case, a Lilac Roller, especially at place markets for a bit of pinchy. When Betfair go 3 places. John will like that one, I think. Nick, any view here?
I'm with you on the Lilac Roller. If the ground's like this, especially.
Right.
I mean, if it comes up fast, I probably wouldn't have a bet. But if these were the prices, 9-2 or Lilac Roller is just too big for me in this.
Yeah. Right, fair play. So, of course, on Friday, there's a couple of TV races at York. I've not really done much work there, I'll be honest, at this stage. So, what I'm going to come on to you chaps, any other business on anything else you like over the next 2 days. John, is there anything else extra you'd like to add?
In the Fillies Maiden on the first day,
Yeah.
See Emily run was very interesting. She got the advantage of experience. And I was really impressed with the fact that she's out with Dalakani mare, but she ran over 6 furlongs on debut at Goodwood. She was nicely back, which shows that they're quite keen on her anyway. I expected Tom Cloverhouse to improve for a run, and I don't think this is much of a maiden for the long term, so I think See Emily Run is probably a here and now type of horse, and I would expect her to win that maiden.
For your mate Tom Clover.
Yes.
I can see an email coming after this.
Well, you know, maybe to congratulate him on getting something right.
13-2 for John. He's added there. Nick, any other business for you over the next 2 days that take your eye?
Last race, Newmarket, above, back up 5 furlongs. One here last August on easy ground, off a mark 80, I think. 80, yeah. And all this season, apart from the first thing, it's been campaigned and gradually getting a little bit closer each time, over 6. And it's now returned with Mr. Callan up, and it's 12-1 in the last race.
Yeah, Friday.
It's got the easy ground back at Newmarket, and it's been returned to 5 furlongs for the first time Now it's dropped £5. A very big price there.
Yeah, last winning off 80 from Foreseeable Future, and of course now runs off 75. Now back at the trip it likes winning at. So Nick's case there at a double figure price in the 5:20 at Newmarket on Friday. Anything else, Nick?
No, I say I'm sorry for all patrons for Catch the Pay. It looks it's going to York. It's got an awful draw though on Friday. It's drawn right on the outside. If it dries up, it'll still run well. But I'm sorry, it looks like it won't be running in Bunbury Cup.
Yeah, disappointing because you made a good case with the El Nadrim form line. I won't say the draw's insurmountable there in recent times, but it is wider than ideal. We'll see how that pans out. But Catch the Paddy's an interesting runner for you all to keep your eyes on going forwards. Definitely well handicapped. Appears to have improved for having its bollocks chopped off. And yeah, certainly one that we can look forward to, I think, in the coming weeks ahead, irrespective of how it runs Friday.
Another one in that race that I haven't going to keep my eye on is Master Richard. It had no chance in the draw last time out at Redcar. And it's been coming down the line, handicap nicely. What one before that, Doncaster was a very good run. That will win soon, Master Richard.
Good stuff. Right, Friday best bets. What are we saying? I've made my case clear with involvement, so that's mine. John, what would be your best bet on Friday?
Fairbanks.
Fairbanks, the Heritage 14 furlong handicap. Nick Davis?
Probably going with above, but it was a toss-up between that and Fairbanks.
Yeah, above that Nick's just mentioned there for you in that sprint handicap, dropping back to its favourite trip. And also, he's very keen on Fairbanks also. So these are lovely selections for you to consider. No favs there, no short prices. It's two tribes go to war, says Frankie. That's all from us. Bye for now.